All right, we are live for another NPC update. Audio should be working. A little bit late today. Had some stuff come up, had to run a few errands. And last week was sick, did not make the NPC update. But this week, better late than never. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, the liberal left is foaming at the mouth. They are freaking the fuck out. They cannot handle the truth. The simple fact of the matter is, Pierre Poilievre's rallies are breaking records. They are seeing numbers like no other, and the people rallying around him is all around the country from province to province, and they're mad about it. The liberals, they're losing their absolute minds, and they're pushing this right here, this experience. Mark Carney is experienced. He can do all of these jobs that Pierre can't. Mark Carney came out of nowhere, came out of absolutely nowhere, was propped up, playing as the puppet master, Trudeau's puppet master, and he's just come out of nowhere. He's been pushed up into the helm, and he is now running our country. Not my prime minister, that's for sure. But the left, this is trending right now on Twitter. Just foaming, freaking the fuck out, throwing a temper tantrum, typical activist garbage. And it's all over right now. They can't handle themselves. Let's see if I have a better view here for this. They're just trying to push that Pierre Poilievre is not the man for the job, that he cannot bring Canada around. The simple fact is, Mark Carney is running and propping up the exact same party that has put us into this position for the past 10 years. Everything they are promising, they've had 10 years to do it, and they are only now trying to fix things or change policies in favor for Canadians because of the election, because Donald Trump all of a sudden has kicked our asses. The wake-up call came, and it came hard. And now the Liberals, everything they've enacted, all the policies they've put down, they're running back on. They are fixing the problems they created. And they are saying that Mark Carney has all this experience. He's the greatest guy ever. Come on, guys. How long can you really believe this facade? And right now, it's trending all over. The absolute bashing of Pierre Poilievre, just simply trying to state him as an unqualified man. Look, guys, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Do not believe this liberal propaganda. Do not believe it for a second. They're lying in the polls. They're trying to make it seem like there's going to be this big red wave and turnaround. It's just not going to happen. Go look at any of the rallies. Go look at any of the rallies. And if you want to take a further step here, if you really want to do some deep diving, literally roughly 2 to 3 hours ago, this is the NDP. Less than 250 views with 5 likes. This was about 2 hours ago. This is the Liberal Party. About 2,700 with 160 likes almost. 4 dislikes. And then here's Pierre Poilievre roughly 3 hours ago. 11,000 on his way to 12,000. Almost 2,000 likes and 20 dislikes. They are freaking out because the writing is on the wall and they are playing the final cards. Like, if you thought the final cards had already been played, for some reason they have a few more up their sleeve and they think it's gonna work. They actually believe this is the way to go. And these pathetic liberal freakouts on Twitter might be some of the most juicy things in the world, guys. All over the place, popping up. Calling out Pierre Poilievre, saying, no, he will not be the prime minister. He's not. He's a Timbit Trump. He's MAGA 2.0. These people are so deranged. They cannot separate Trump from Pierre, and that should be concerning for the everyday person who just wants to live their life, who wants Canada to be better. I mean, I don't know how you can put Trump and Pierre in the same boat. They're not even close to the same fucking person. But that's the just pure idiotic stupidity, retardation, whatever you want to call it, coming out of Twitter right now, specifically from the left. Elon Musk and his bots are trying to interfere in another election. Bullshit. The writing is on the wall. You think all these people are Elon Musk bots? I don't think so. This was the rally, the number-breaking, record-breaking rally of Pierre's that happened a few days ago. Do you really think Pierre would be breaking rally records if it was just Elon Musk bots? I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. And the left right now, the liberal left, they're just foaming from the mouth. And it is just hilarious. They're calling out people for being bots. They're saying Pierre is botting right now. It is coming out in full force. And they are just losing it. They're fucking freaking. Guys, this is some of the most juicy stuff ever. I'm telling you, if you go on Twitter, you go anywhere right now, they are freaking. There's also a lot of do not elect Mark Carney trending. I mean, it's true. It's true. It doesn't get any more real than that. I mean, come on, guys. I don't even know what to say anymore. It's just, you vote in the Liberal, you get 4 more years of the past 10 years. And if you think that's good, I don't know what world you're living in. I just don't. I really don't. Anyway, we have a couple policy announcements here from the 3 main parties. Let's see how far we can make it into a Jagmeet policy announcement. If I had to guess, we're not going to be making it too far. But actually, I haven't listened to this man speak in a long time, and it's probably done some wonders to my brain and my health. So let's do the exact opposite of that and dive right into this.
But before I get into that, I want to talk a bit about the threat that we're up against. With Donald Trump, every day there seems to be another threat, and Canadians are really
instantly going for Donald Trump. Yeah, okay. So the past 10 years haven't been anything, apparently, to these people. Only the past few months. That's all that matters. Not the liberal NDP destroying our infrastructure, economy, healthcare, giving out billions of dollars to other countries. Nothing like that. No, it's Donald Trump in the past 2 to 3 months. That's what really is hitting us hard right now.
Worried of what that means for themselves and for their families and their lives. We're seeing that a lot of folks are worried about job loss. They're also worried about the cost of living going up. And for a lot of Canadians, they're seeing Donald Trump specifically target different sectors. He threatened our medication coverage, or the fact that we had some limits in place in terms of how much we were charged for medication during the first CUSMA. And now he's reiterated those attacks. He wants to pull away our generic producers out of our country and bring them to the States, so we'll lose the capacity to make medication here and prices will go up. In all of that, I think about what that means for people. I think about the Canadians that worry about how much their medication costs them, the seniors who I've met who know they've got to take their pills but can't afford to, so they cut them in half. Or they
Yeah, so I'm sure you've done a lot to do anything to fix that over the past 5 years, Jagmeet, as you continue to prop up a government that's failed in every single facet possible. I can't wait for the election to happen and this party just crumble, just fold into itself, because it's going to happen. The NDP is going to get probably less than half of the seats they currently have. And that's probably the only thing I truly believe in the polls. The polls that are coming out right now, if you want some truth to that, it's the fact that the NDP is going to be gonzo. Other than that, though, don't trust the polls. Do not believe the polls. The liberal polls are not helping anybody. Look, Jagmeet, I tried to listen to you, but I couldn't do it. So we're going to listen to our fake prime minister here, wherever he is. There he is. Some new policy announcements here. The same party that for the past 10 years told us that the carbon tax was a great thing, and now is air quotations gotten rid of it just to do a secret one. Yeah, this party is weird. The Liberal Party, they're going back on everything they've placed, and they're just trying to fix all the problems they've created. It's not working. It's actually making things much worse. And the fact that every week Carney has involved himself in X, Y, or Z, a new conflict of interest, moving money to one account to another, moving his business to the United States, this secret box in Bermuda that he's funneling money to that's tax-free. It just keeps coming out every single day with this guy. The collusion with China, the WeChat situation where the CCP was literally found trying to manipulate news here in Canada in order to mold certain people's perspectives on what was happening, specifically with Mark Carney. This guy is all over the place when it comes to everything that is coming out. And kind of going back to the beginning of this stream, just laughing at the left fucking melting down right now. It's all coming together. The big collapse of the Liberal Party. It's just happening right before our eyes. It happened a few months ago when they failed to hand over the economic statement and Karina Gould ran away. Chrystia Freeland fucking resigned. Then Trudeau left his job a few months later. But it's happening again. And it's just, they're trying to pick up whatever pieces are left over to rebuild this party. And it's just sad. Guys, I truly think it's going to be a blue wave like no other. We're going to see the NDP get destroyed, and the Liberals probably will be a fraction of what they currently are. I don't know why anybody is even standing behind this man right now after everything that's come out, after everything he's said. Oh, Mark Carney, here we go.
Thank you. Thank you very much, George. Bonjour tout le monde. I got to start. It is fantastic to be back home in Alberta. George, merci à vous et tous nos candidats. Merci de vous, just as Sean Strickland said. And Sean, I want to thank you for your tireless advocacy on behalf of our unionized building trades. Above all, I want to thank those behind me, the workers, the students,
I want to thank all 5 workers who decided to stand behind me, even if they did not want to. You see, Pierre has rows of workers behind him, and Carney has to prop these guys up behind a wall to make it seem like there's more of them than they are. And at one point in time, he was dressing up his own members of cabinet to make it seem like there were people trying to support him. Just not the case. It's just not the case, and this is why I say do not trust the polls, because while there's 5 people standing behind Carney, half of them don't even want to be there, and the 50 people standing behind Pierre actually want to be there.
Graduating from Trade Winds, a program that empowers Indigenous peoples to find their path to a good career in the trade. And this record, Jay, of 100% employment coming out. Great training, great jobs that come through, building our future. And the Ironworkers Local 725, ironworkers across this country who are literally building Canada. You are exactly the people we need right now and for decades to come. We need builders. We need unionized builders. We need extraordinarily skilled women and men like you, because being extraordinary by being extraordinary, is how we are going to emerge stronger from the biggest crisis in our lifetimes.
Yeah, the biggest crisis that your party actually created. That's the most wild part. People are actually buying this face swap. They actually think because Trudeau is gone, this is a whole new party. He's talking as if the problems that were created were not him. Well, it's not him specifically, but I'm sure he has some sort of play in it. I mean, he was Trudeau's advisor, one of them, one of the very many. Right? So, look, man, at the end of the day, he could sit here saying X, Y, Z, this, that, and the fourth. Your party created all of this, and it's still the same party. Unless you literally flush it from top to bottom and change to a different color, I don't know how you could really get rid of the stain that is Justin Trudeau.
You know, today marks an anniversary. Over a century ago, our country came together in a crisis on the battlefield and showed the best that Canada had to offer at Vimy Ridge. We're facing now a different crisis. President Trump is trying to fundamentally restructure the international trading system. And in the process, he's rupturing the global economy. We've seen the impact of this chaos. Volatility in global financial markets, retirement savings being put at risk. And here in Canada, President Trump's tariffs are threatening Canadian labor and Canadian business. They're putting people's livelihoods in jeopardy, from auto workers in Ontario to iron workers here in Alberta. We are responding. We are responding with purpose and with force, because we are masters in our own home. Nous sommes maîtres chez nous.
All right, you know what, man? The more he speaks, the more I just want to see him gone. Because at the end of the day, this man was put in place by a fucking fraction of his own party. Out of the roughly 500,000 people that could have voted, it was like 100 or so thousand. So, look, I don't trust this man. He could sit here claiming he's going to fix Canada and this next term is going to be liberal strong and he can do his communist elbows up, but I'm not buying it. You know what I am buying? This man right here. Before we get into this man right here, I do want to show off a very massive endorsement that he got the other day. I'm sure everybody and their grandma saw this, but let's take a listen.
You know, friends, I am in a unique position in this federal election. I am the only person who can say that both of the men running to be Prime Minister once worked for me. And in that regard, my choice, without hesitation, without equivocation, without a shadow of a doubt, is Pierre Poilievre. You know, friends,
I can't lie, that was huge. That was massive. And not just the endorsement, the rally itself too was record-breaking. And I'm not going to stop mentioning it because the polls want to continue to tell you otherwise. The polls want to tell you that most Canadians want Mark Carney. But then you see that, well, Mark Carney isn't getting any record-breaking rallies, is he? No, he's not. Mark Carney has to dress up his own goddamn staff in order to look like there's people standing behind him. That's just the truth of the situation right now. Let's get into what Pierre spoke about roughly 3 hours ago. So this is pretty new in terms of Pierre stuff. Let's take a listen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chief, and thanks to all of you. Thank you most of all to our first responders, our courageous men and women who fight for safety every single day. And thank you all for enjoying this beautiful morning here in the Sioux. It's a nice day to work on my tan. And it's great to be Canadian, isn't it? It's great to be also with the next member of Parliament for the Sioux, a 30-year-long police officer serving this community as the chief, widely respected as someone who stood behind the men and women in uniform and always stood on the side of law-abiding Canadians. This election is a choice. After a lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime and a falling economy under America's thumb, we cannot afford a fourth Liberal term. We need to put Canada first for a change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, unleash our resources, and strengthen our economy so that we can stand up to the Americans from a position of strength. We need a change. A lost Liberal decade of soft-on-crime, hug-a-thug policies has made life more dangerous. That's one reason why we can't risk a fourth Liberal term. We need a change to lock up the worst offenders, treat addiction, and bring home safety to our communities. Once safe streets have become scenes of chaos and disorder for too many Canadians, the threat of crime is now an everyday fact of life. It wasn't like this before. Canadians used to walk their streets in safety and tranquility. In small northern Ontario towns, many did not even bother to lock their doors because it was so safe. But starting 10 years ago, the Liberal government began adopting catch-and-release policies, like C5 that allows repeat offenders to do their sentences in their living rooms under house arrest, or C75, which says that the judge must release an accused at the earliest opportunity and under the least onerous conditions, even if that offender has 75 or 100 prior convictions. The result? The Liberal violent crime wave has made many communities unrecognizable. Violent crime is up 50%. Gun crime has soared 116%. Gang homicides are up 78%, and extortion is up 46%. Auto theft is up an eye-watering 357%.
357%, my God. I mean, there was a point in time they were reporting that the Justice Minister himself had his car stolen numerous times. The Justice Minister himself. That's how bad it's gotten. And the Justice Minister, Liberal, can't even open his eyes to see it. You got your own car stolen. Numerous times, buddy. You're still letting these people off. Slapping them on the wrist. Oh, that's fine. Steal my car again, please.
Le Canada a souffert pendant la décennie perdue des libéraux. Mais personne n'a souffert plus que les victimes de criminalité. La criminalité s'est explosée à cause de la décennie perdue des libéraux, où ils ont permis nos pires criminels récidivistes d'aller dans les rues et d'être libérés presque automatiquement. En fait, avec ces 75, les libéraux permettent les accusés d'être libérés sous les conditions les moins contraignantes à la première occasion de Tariffs. Ces lois avant avaient mis en politique et ils n'ont pas contrôlé nos frontières et aux armes. This is not happening only in our big cities, but in smaller cities like the Sioux. Calls to police are up 7.8% since 2020, and residents have woken up to stories about multiple shootings in a single weekend. Or news of that police had raided an apartment, finding guns, fentanyl, and other drugs. In that case, one of the men who was involved was out on early release. It's an all too familiar story. In Saskatchewan in 2022, Miles Sanderson and his brother went on a killing spree. They killed 11 people and injured 17. Think of that for a moment. 2 men killed or injured 28 human beings. Now, that is bad enough, but what's worse is that it was absolutely preventable. Sanderson was out on statutory release. That is to say, he was released because the law required he be released after 59 prior convictions.
How many does it take? Like, we're like 2 should be probably the very most. I mean 1 realistically, but 59? 59.
59.
Yeah.
This is insane. Que quelqu'un peut commettre 59 crimes consécutifs et perdu. 1.2 million for the string of home invasions, armed robberies, carjackings, with over $1.2 million worth of stolen vehicles recovered. Of the 18, half of the offenders were out on bail. Across Canada in 2022, 256 people were charged with homicide while they were out on release, either on bail or parole. In Vancouver, police had to arrest the same 40 offenders 6,000 times. That means that each offender was arrested on average once every 2 days all year long. And those are just the crimes for which they got caught. Can you imagine being arrested 150 times in a year? You must be doing crime all day, every day, for that to be the case. In other cities, we have individual offenders who, by themselves, raise the crime rate for an entire city. There's one offender in Penticton. The police say when he's out of jail, the crime rate for all of Penticton goes up because he, by himself, does that much crime. The good news is that we don't have a lot of criminals in Canada. The bad news is they're very productive. Enough. It's time to lock up the very small group of rampant career criminals who are causing all the chaos. We cannot go on with another 4 years of Liberal catch and release. We need a change to bring safety back to our streets. That's why I am announcing today that a future Conservative government will bring that change. Not only will we repeal Liberal catch and release laws, we will carry out the biggest crackdown on crime in Canadian history. And we will do it by passing the 3 strikes you're out law. 3 strikes you're out means that anyone convicted of 3 serious offenses will be ineligible thereafter for bail, probation, parole, or house arrest. And they will serve a minimum of 10 years behind bars, a maximum of life imprisonment, and they will have to earn their release even still. We will designate such offenders as dangerous offenders, meaning they cannot be released until they have proven that they are no longer a danger to society.
And that is exactly how it should be. Just to break this up briefly here, take a look at this. Like I've been saying, Canada is a puppet state. According to Zachary Tisdale here. Trying to negotiate. We have a bunch of countries over there. Offered concessions. Retaliated. Ah. I see. Possible retaliation. No retaliation at all. Trying to negotiate. But, yeah. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? The only 2 countries we weren't even willing to negotiate. We were just right off the bat, we're firing back. Our closest fucking ally. Interesting how that works. Huh. I see. And going back to what I was talking about earlier and kind of what the stream title is this how cons spend their war chest on bots, trolls, and who knows what? Who knows what and who knows where? 6th graders could do better. Do not elect Mark Carney as a kind of dumb thing Pierre Poilievre would approve of. Yeah, no shit. The opposition of the Liberal Party. What else is he supposed to do? Fucking back Mark Carney? Oh my god, do these people even think before they post shit like this? Seriously. Do not elect Mark Carney. Is this the kind of dumb thing Pierre would approve of? Yeah! Yeah, it probably is. Matter of fact, he's said it numerous times. Are you even paying attention? Probably not. Holy shit, dude.
Under my watch, the only way for repeat offenders to obtain their freedom will be through spotless behavior and clean drug tests during a lengthy minimum prison sentence with earned release, dependent on making real progress in improving their lives, such as learning a trade or upgrading their education. They will also have to take drug tests to prove that they are clean. On a besoin de nouveaux gouvernements conservateurs pour faire changer les choses et mettre fin à la vague de criminalité que les libéraux ont provoquée. Et qui va mettre un nouveau gouvernement qui va mettre le Canada d'abord pour faire changement. C'est pourquoi j'annonce aujourd'hui qu'un nouveau gouvernement conservateur ne va pas seulement abroger les lois libérales d'arrestation et de remise en liberté, mais va aussi mener la plus grande campagne de lutte contre la criminalité de l'histoire du Canada. On va le faire en adoptant les lois des 3 coups. Cette loi va empêcher les criminels reconnus coupables de 3 infractions graves d'obtenir une libération sous caution, une probation, une libération conditionnelle ou une détention domicile, et va maintenir les récidivistes violents derrière des barreaux plus longtemps pour les tenir à l'écart de leurs victimes et de protéger nos rues. Elle va garantir que les criminels dangereux, reconnus coupables d'une 3e infraction violente, soient infligés d'une peine d'emprisonnement minimale de 10 ans et pouvant aller jusqu'à la vie en prison. Ils vont aussi également désigner comme délinquants dangereux, ce qui signifie qu'ils ne pourront pas être libérés avant de prouver qu'ils ne sont plus un risque envers le public. Leur rapprochant Mark Carney will be safe. We know that a 4th Liberal term under Mark Carney will be no different than the previous 3 under Trudeau. We know that he has the same Liberal ministers, Liberal MPs, Liberal strategists, and Liberal promises that got us into this mess, and he will not get us out. For example, the Liberal Justice Minister, who brought in many of these policies, David Lametti, immediately became Mark Carney's top advisor. And his hand-picked candidate in Victoria, Mr. Carney's hand-picked candidate in Victoria, wants to defund and disarm the police. Think about that for a second. Defund and disarm the police. Who's going to protect us? These are the radical Liberal agendas that are getting worse, not better, under Mr. Carney. Only a new Conservative government will give repeat violent criminals jail, not bail, and keep the worst offenders off our streets behind bars. Only a new Conservative government will stop the crime for a change. In addition to 3 strikes and you're out, we will bring life sentences for human traffickers, for gun smugglers, and for mass fentanyl producers. We will bring in tougher sentences for domestic abusers. And we will shut down the drug dens, defund the opioids, lock up the major traffickers of those opioids, and provide 50,000 treatment spaces to save the lives of loved ones who have become addicted. And only a new Conservative government will put Canada first for a change. The people who work hard, pay their taxes, and play by the rules. We'll cut income taxes by 15% for the average worker and senior so that hard work pays off. We'll take the sales tax off new homes and incentivize municipalities to speed up permits, free up land, and allow more home building so people can actually afford a place to live after the decade of Liberal housing crises. We'll take capital gains tax off anyone who reinvests their proceeds here in Canada to build our economy. We'll repeal the Liberal no new development laws to unleash the strength of our economy and stand up to the Americans from a position of might. Unlocking our resources and getting them to the world will allow us to go around the Americans and bring home powerful paychecks, including for the tradespeople, of whom we are going to train 350,000 more. The choice in the election is after a lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime and a falling economy under America's thumb. Can we afford a fourth Liberal term? Or is it time for a change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, lock up criminals, unleash our resources, and stand strong against the Americans under our proud flag? Le choix dans les élections qui s'en viennent, c'est est-ce qu'on demande l'économie change et libérer. And just before I wrap up, let me just say it is Vimy Day. Let's give thanks, regardless of our political affiliation. Let's give thanks to the 3,598 courageous soldiers who triumphed at Vimy all those years ago. We can only imagine the harsh conditions and the terror that they experienced to bring about that great moment of Canadian pride. Let us continue to build a country that is worthy of their sacrifice. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Canada first for a change.
Thank you, everyone.
And that's why people like him. Because he mentions the history. He brings up what makes Canada Canada. Everything. It's not just Vimy that he's brought up. He's done it time and time again. No matter what it is, he is always Canada first. He's always going to be pushing that message, and I think that is what our country just so desperately needs now, and that's why people are rallying around him like no other. That's why we're seeing records being broken like no other. It is time. People do want a serious change. The past 10 years have been devastating. If you even want to tack on how a certain virus of unknown origin was handled as well. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can put together over the past 10 years that have not been great about Canada and our government. And people at this point, at least I know I kind of am. I'm fed up with it. Big time. I would like the economy to boom here. I need some goddamn money, okay? That's basically what it comes down to. And Trudeau and the Liberals have taken it all. And they sent it to Brazil. They sent it to Ukraine. They sent it to the UN, most likely, so they could funnel funds wherever they please. It's not been good. But the simple fact is people are rallying around him because they believe that this is going to be different. I don't know. I guess we'll see when the time comes. Because as of right now, I don't believe the polls, and I truly think Pierre is going to be our next prime minister. I truly do. As we've been watching this, it's actually gone up past 12,000. It was at 11, and it's gotten over, or not over, but we've hit 2,000. So I can only imagine it's just going to keep going up as we're watching this. This came out 5 hours ago now.
We will now take questions from the floor. Please say your name and outlet.
Thank you.
Elaine Delamattia, Sioux Star. At last night's rally, you only mentioned steel in passing. This is a steel town. Tariffs are a serious issue for both the workers, the steel workers, and the community overall. We're also a border town. We've had traditionally great relationships with our American neighbors. What is your plan to deal with the tariffs and help the steel industry prosper in Canada and return good relationships with our American neighbors? And if you could answer in English and French for my French colleagues, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. A very important question. I did mention steel yesterday in my remarks, and obviously the steel industry is under attack. This is an area where Mr. Trump and Mr. Carney agree. They both want to tax Canadian steel. Trump with tariffs, Carney with carbon taxes. Mr. Carney has said he's admitted that he wants an expanded industrial carbon tax, and when asked who would pay it, he specifically said the steel industry would pay it. If the Liberal carbon tax is allowed to stay in place and quadruple in size over the next 4 years, as the law has set out, there will be no steel industry left in Canada. Obviously Algoma, but there's also Dofasco, Stelco, Evraz, Gardeau, and many others that will shut down and go south where there is no carbon tax. and where they would be free from American tariffs. So our plan to start with is to axe the entire carbon tax, including the industrial tax that Mr. Carney says he wants to keep in place. We will also put in place counter tariffs on the Americans to dissuade and deter their protectionism against our steel products. We will cut taxes on investment, allowing Canadians to pay zero capital gains tax when they reinvest in Canada. This will unlock a boom. It will be like jet fuel for the Canadian economy. And industries that are investment intensive, like steel, will be among the greatest beneficiaries. We're going to bring home, oh, by the way, we're also the only party that supports building pipelines. We are going to repeal the No New Pipelines Liberal Law C-69 and build Canadian pipelines with Canadian steel to get Canadian energy to Canadian markets. We will build LNG plants that also require massive amounts of steel, and we will make that domestic Canadian steel. That's how we're going to protect the jobs of the great steel workers of the Sioux, of Hamilton, of Regina, and right across this country. Our people are made of steel, and our economy will be as well. Let's put Canada first for a change. Thank you.
En français.
Une des messes carbone enlevée au Canada. On va au abroger production et finalement avec chez nous.
McGrath Gowdy, Sioux today.
Yes, sir.
Opioid crisis obviously is a problem across the country, but I know here in Sault Ste. Marie, last year there were at least 2 quarters where Sault Ste. Marie led Ontario in the death rate for opioid overdoses. I'm just wondering, since your party mentioned it's going to help 50,000 people recover, how is that going to roll out, particularly in smaller or more remote communities like Sault Ste. Marie? Are you going to support people to recover inside of their communities? What kind of supports are you going to bring to these communities?
Yes, very good question. As you correctly pointed out, our platform is to fund 50,000 treatment spaces over the next 4 years. We've lost 50,000 people to overdoses. So in honor of those we've lost, we want to treat the same number of people. We are going to fund treatment facilities with a proven track record of getting people off drugs. And we're going to use a new pay-for-performance model. So instead of just having organizations fill out application forms, get grants, and then file the paperwork to tell us what they did later on, what we will do is pay organizations that successfully get addicts drug-free through verified drug testing and confirmation after the fact. We'll pay a higher fee to organizations that help tougher cases, and obviously a more modest fee for addictions treatment that is less severe, for a less severe case. So think about organizations like the Oak Centre in Winnipeg, Harvest House in Ottawa and in Moncton, or countless others like them. What they do is they take people off the streets, they give them treatment, they give them detox, counseling, group therapy, physical exercise, sweat lodges for First Nations, job placement, housing transition, and they get them back on their feet. Organizations that have a proven track record of doing that are going to get funded from my program, and so that they can expand. Those that are starting from scratch but that have the drug-free doctrine, they will get some seed funding to get up and off the ground so that they can start operating. But their go-forward funding will be based on how long they keep prior addicts off drugs. We have to start paying for results, not for buzzwords on application forms, not for who has the best lobbyist or consultant that knows how to work the bureaucracy to get a grant. We want proven results that we will pay for. And by the way, speaking of paying for it, we're not going to just add more expense to the government. I'm going to pay for it by cutting off the taxpayer-funded unsafe supply of opioids, by suing the drug companies that caused this crisis in the first place, and by getting rid of back-office bureaucracy. We want frontline, community-based, bottom-up organizations that get people off drugs. After the lost Liberal decade of rising overdoses and crime and costs, we can't afford a fourth term. We need to stop the drugs for a change with a new Conservative government. Thank you.
Suing the companies that got us into this problem to begin with. That sounds expensive. I don't know about you guys, but lawsuits going up against big pharma, whew, that sounds like lots and lots of money that's going to be thrown around there to get to the bottom of that. It sounds like a solid plan. The only problem is the person themselves, they have to actually want that change. They're gonna, you can't force somebody to do it, is what I guess I'm trying to get at here. Now, yeah, if you're like surrounded by good people that will push you towards that change and getting treatment and getting off of these addictions, then absolutely. But it's gotta be that person themselves that actually wants to do it. So it just sounds like dumping more money into things that could potentially work if they're able to expand and operate in more areas. But fuck, I don't know, man. Hope that's definitely better than just, we're gonna open up an area, load people full of whatever drug, and then just watch them, I guess, and then just allow them to continue the cycle. But I don't know. It has to be that specific person that wants that change, right? Do you want to get off the street? Do you want to stop looking like that, right? Do you want to change your life for the better? That's completely up to them.
Thank you.
En français.
Merci beaucoup. J'aime pas qu'on ait financé après leur dépense. Bonne lobbyiste, stopper aux surdoses, stopper les.
Craig Lord with the Canadian Press. I want to ask you about a global news report this morning detailing donations and support you've received from the overseas friends of the BJP, Narendra Modi's party in India. How comfortable are you receiving support from from friends of the BJP, given that members of that party are allegedly behind violence against Sikh separatists here in Canada?
Well, first of all, I received 37,000 separate donations that anybody can make online. We don't have the capacity to do CSIS background checks on every single person who makes those 37,000 donations. We condemn 100% any foreign interference in Canada, and anyone who collaborates with it should be jailed. But the real question you should be asking is, why haven't the Liberals got the foreign agent registry up and running? Because then we would know proactively who is working on behalf of a foreign government. And then parties could actually go through their lists of donations and find out if there is anybody who's been a bad actor. But they haven't set that up, even though it was passed into law by Parliament. The other question that you should be asking is, why is Mark Carney accepting campaign support from the Chinese Communist government? You know, here he is.
I like how Pierre just starts doing the reporter's job for him. And he does it every time. You should be asking this question. Why don't you go ask these people? I'm not the one running the the country right now. Why don't you go ask Trudeau? Like, all of this XYZ, he is able to turn it back on these reporters so perfectly.
He was just in China a few months ago, arranging a $250 million loan for his company, a company in which he still has millions of dollars of interest. And now we find that the government in Beijing is actively interfering to campaign on behalf of Mr. Carney. I note that the government in Beijing was attacking his leadership rival, Chrystia Freeland, during the leadership race. And now they're pushing out propaganda to support his campaign again. He is conflicted. He continues to have financial interests in foreign hostile regimes in the hundreds of millions of dollars while he is Prime Minister of Canada. That is the real foreign interference that we should be worried about, and it is the foreign interference that I will end. After the lost Liberal decade, they have turned this country into a playground for foreign interference. And I will not allow, and I will not allow that kind of thing to happen anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now take a call-in question from the phone line, and this will be the final question.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys could hear that, but I think there's a protester at his speech yelling in the background on a megaphone.
Laurence Martin, Radio-Canada.
Sorry, I'm listening to the question. Sorry, there's just a
Bonjour, Monsieur
protester
Poilievre.
here. Go ahead.
There is a protester. There's a fucking protester yelling at him.
Sorry. Sorry. Is there? We're listening. We're trying to listen for the next person who was up asking a question. I think it's. Nous avons besoin d'une question en français. Est-ce que c'est ça?
Bonjour, Monsieur Poilievre. Pour votre loi sur les 3 coups que vous présentez
That was wild. Okay, I guess the last question's in French.
aujourd'hui,
La loi oblige nombre de libéraux devraient prohibir dans les communautés.
Alrighty. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I think there was just one single protester.
Friends of the Beat Violence.
We don't have half of Mr. Carney. We should we should be worried about, and it is the foreign interference that I will end. After the lost liberal decade, they have turned this country into a playground for foreign interference. And I will not allow,
It's very hard to hear, but there's somebody like just yelling in the background.
that kind of thing to happen anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now take a call-in question from the phone line, and this will be the final question.
Laurence Martin.
Wow, alrighty then. Fucking absolute psychopaths. This is what I was talking about. Like they're mad. They're losing their minds. They can't handle it anymore, guys. That's what the title of this stream is based off of. From Twitter to even 5 hours ago. This was 5 hours ago. Some liberal nut job screaming at Pierre Poilievre because I don't even know why. I honestly it's too funny. They are fucking bursting at the seams and they can't handle themselves anymore. Like just to give you a rundown again of what we were talking about before, all over Twitter right now, the Elon Musk bots are trying to interfere in another election. Okay, so do not elect Mark Carney is trending, but if you click on the tag, every single post is the exact same. In other words, it's like they are freaking. And I gotta point out, social media isn't reality. So, if whatever these people claim to be losing their minds about here, that, where the conservatives are botting, or Pierre Poilievre is whatever, the Elon Musk bots, social media is not real. Social media is not real. Go look at Pierre Poilievre's legitimate rallies. Now, those are real. Those aren't Elon Musk bots. Those are real people breaking records, breaking rally records. And guys, they can't take it anymore. They're fucking exploding. Anything that comes out now, it's just he's Donald Trump 2.0. Oh my god, I can't believe you would support somebody that says make Canada great again. It's like, yeah, I think I am going to support somebody that says make Canada great again. We're not talking about the United States here. We're talking about our own country. Oh boy, these people are wild. And like I said, they can't handle it anymore. They are exploding at the seams.
From my understanding, some of the campaign was pushing positive narratives about you. Why do you think that China, the PRC, seems to like you? Why are they praising you?
I have absolutely no idea, and I have absolutely no idea, and I think I'll leave it at that.
I have absolutely no idea, and I have absolutely no idea, and I'll leave it at that. Back to you, folks. Holy shit, that was wild. Maybe this is why right here. Just, fuck, I don't know. You ever think of that one? Imagine you are Prime Minister of Canada. Your own government officials reveal that China, a hostile foreign power, is pushing stories to help you and your party get elected. That was it, man.
From my understanding, some of the campaign was pushing positive narratives about you. Why do you think that China, the PRC, seems to like you? Why?
Why do you think the Communist Party seems to just love you so much? I don't know.
Are they praising you?
Why are they praising you?
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay, sounds good. All right, guys, there you have it. Mark Carney. Good Lord, this man is worse than Trudeau in every way, shape, and form. And I can't express it enough. I can't express it enough. And Chris Ruth is back. My goodness. We are in a Chinese wonderland, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I'm going to take one last look at the political landscape that is the internet. Impeach Trump is trending. Would you take a look at that? When isn't that trending? It's like every day now. Oh, we have a clip here. Hold on.
But if there's a future...
If I see a clip titled Jagmeet Singh gets roasted by the media at his own press conference, I click on it. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
But if there's a future minority government, would this be the cost of your support? And as well, we've seen you do policy announcements like this. We've seen you meet with unions, workers, campaign volunteers. But so far this week, I haven't seen a single supporter at any of your events. Why is that?
So when it comes to what we want to do in the next parliament, I want to lay out what Canadians can expect us to fight for. We're going to fight for you, and we want to lay out the things that we want to fight for. The thing that we're laying out today is pharmacare. For a lot of Canadians, this is a big worry. They're worried about how much it costs. They're also worried that in the trade war, this is going to be another area where people are going to feel the squeeze. They're going to feel Donald Trump's attacks on our country, specifically targeting making money off of Canadians when it comes to their illnesses and finding ways to attack the fact that we build and we manufacture medication in our country. He's finding ways to attack that to make more profits for American pharmaceuticals. If you're worried about
so this is all he's going to say. It's Donald Trump with Jagmeet. By the way, thank you, Capital Clips, for the amazing content.
But if there's a future minority government, would this be the cost of your support? And as well, we've seen you do policy announcements like this. We've seen you meet with unions, workers, campaign volunteers. But so far this week, I haven't seen a single supporter at any of your events.
I haven't seen a single supporter at any of your events. That's just why I wanted to replay that. The media is just cooking Jagmeet, and I think the writing's on the wall, guys. This is your band of NDP. There's probably going to be a whole 5 of them in Parliament after this election. Holy shit, dude. All right, guys. That is going to do it for today's stream. Thank you very much for joining today's NPC update. I will be live next Wednesday if everything goes to plan. Should be back. And if I am correct, we're still waiting. So May 26th, they should return back to Parliament, hopefully. And then we will be back to covering question period. So there you have it. There you have it. That is the House of Commons sitting calendar. All right, everybody. Have a fantastic day or night, depending on where you are from. Adios. Adios.